about what I will personally label the idiocy of Team USA women's basketball.
And this is absolutely shocking. Stephen A. Smith just dropped a bombshell nobody saw coming. According to one of the most powerful voices in sports, Caitlin Clark has reportedly stepped away from Team USA entirely after being snubbed and benched from the official Olympic roster. Let's be clear, this isn't some rumor anymore. Smith himself, a figure whose words move the sports world, has confirmed what so many fans quietly suspected. Clark has decided she's done seeking approval from a system and from people who frankly never seem to welcome her in the first place. The queen of basketball, the player redefining the game with every performance, has gone silent, but the shockwaves from her decision are impossible to ignore. This choice is set to reshape women's basketball in a way that could be permanent. So here's the question: was stepping away from Team USA the right move for Caitlin Clark, or should she have stayed and fought harder for the spot she undoubtedly earned? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think.
She's white. And because of that, when you consider some of the hard times other people gave her, they were resentful of the fact that this white girl came on the scene where there was a bunch of sisters that preceded her spanning decades that were big time, that deserved a lot of credit. I mean, people looked at the Cheryl Swoops of the world, the Maya Moores of the world, and others, and they said, yo, there was a bunch of people that came before her that did big things for the WNBA. I respect it. It is right. I appreciate it. But whiteness does have its privileges, especially when you got a game. And what a lot of people weren't willing or were a bit reluctant to appreciate was the game on this young white sister of ours. She can ball. And oh, by the way, she was a great ambassador for the game. And by the way, she came in there and looked out for everybody else. For 22 years, they couldn't get chartered flights. That sister got there, and it was done in 2 weeks.
Let's get one thing clear about Stephen A. Smith. He doesn't just stir the pot for attention. When he takes a stance this strongly, it's a loud signal that something major is happening behind closed doors, something the public hasn't been seeing. His recent fiery remarks about Caitlin Clark and Team USA aren't simply a critique of a roster decision. No, this goes much deeper. It's a full-scale spotlight on a systemic problem that's been quietly undermining women's basketball for years. A problem that has now erupted into the open for everyone to witness. Think about it. The Olympic roster announcement is usually routine. USA Basketball releases the list, fans react for a day or two, and then the world moves on. But this time, nothing about it was ordinary. When the leaks surfaced, revealing that Caitlin Clark, the player single-handedly filling arenas that had long been empty, wasn't on the roster, the reaction wasn't just surprise. It was outright fury. From casual fans to seasoned analysts, the basketball world couldn't understand how the sport's most influential, most electrifying player could be left off Team USA. The backlash wasn't subtle, it was seismic, and it laid bare just how broken the system really is.
What the hell is going on with WNBA that they cannot handle all this attention that they're getting, as well as the hate and anger towards Caitlin Clark?
When it comes to Caitlin Clark, now I've taken hits because I was calling it from day one. You got people that are resentful towards her. She is really not about her, guys. It's about what she represents. Before she ever came along, there were a lot of outstanding basketball players who happened to be black females that was doing their thing on the WNBA level, and they never got this kind of shine. This girl, the Golden Goose, comes along, and she wreaks havoc. She's a star caliber player who draws this attention. And maybe it's because that fan base that she has and her being a young white lady contributes to it. So what?
The official explanation from the selection committee was weak from the start. They leaned on vague experience requirements, and this supposed 3-year commitment needed to be considered part of the core group. On paper, that might sound reasonable, but here's the problem. It completely ignores what Caitlin Clark actually represents for the future of the sport. You don't leave Michael Jordan at home just because he's new. You don't bench Tiger Woods because he hasn't been around long enough. When you have a transcendent talent, the player who is the biggest draw in your sport, you put them on the team. That's how professional sports are supposed to work when done right. But here's where this story takes a dark turn. Insiders quickly began leaking that this wasn't a simple mistake. This wasn't about merit or paying your dues. It was a calculated, intentional message aimed squarely at Clark. Sources close to the selection process revealed that there were concerns, serious ones, about how veteran players might react to her massive presence. performance. The committee apparently feared the media storm, the spotlight, the circus that follows her everywhere she goes. In short, they prioritize protecting the comfort of established veterans over the bigger mission, growing the game, and capitalizing on a global marketing opportunity. This is exactly where Stephen A. Smith drew his line. He didn't just voice disagreement, he exposed the mind-blowing absurdity of putting feelings over competition and business sense. On national television, he tore apart every single justification the committee offered. His argument was devastatingly simple and undeniable. The Olympics only happen once every 4 years. It's the rare moment when casual fans who normally ignore women's basketball actually tune in. For decades, the sport has struggled for attention despite producing world-class talent. And then Caitlin Clark comes along, drawing millions of new viewers, breaking TV rating records, filling arenas that used to sit empty, and the committee's response? Leave her home, a once-in-a-generation opportunity squandered.
Are we really trying to grow the game? Because this is the most popular women's basketball player in the world, and it ain't close. They had to move the Mystic game to an NBA arena. Name the time. And I'm going to turn it over to you because I don't want to get long-winded. I want somebody, one of our women colleagues, Stephen A., to tell me when a WNBA game has had to be moved because of a woman player. Just one. Just tell me one. Because I know in her attendance, she's averaging about 17,000. All the other WNBA games in which she's not a participant average about 7. So are we really trying to go the game? Is that what we're really trying to do? Or are we just talking about we're trying to grow the game?
Smith didn't hold back. He argued passionately that this was a marketing disaster of historic proportions. He made a crucial point. For Team USA women's basketball, winning gold isn't really the challenge anymore. Let's be honest, they're practically guaranteed the gold regardless of the roster. The talent gap between the US and the rest of the world is so wide that even a college all-star lineup could likely dominate. So the real mission should have been about expanding the game, building the brand, and bringing in new lasting fans. By leaving Caitlin Clark off the roster, Smith claimed the sport's gatekeepers proved they care far more about protecting internal hierarchies and safeguarding egos than fostering long-term growth or maximizing the game's reach. He went even further, hinting that the level of mismanagement is almost incomprehensible, unless of course you consider the possibility that it was deliberate. They didn't just miss a golden opportunity, they actively turned it away. According to Smith, this level of disrespect isn't something Caitlin Clark will easily forget. He strongly suggested that her relationship with USA basketball may be irreparably damaged, and that Clark's inner circle is meticulously tracking every person who stayed quiet while this fiasco unfolded.
The WNBA does. You got a max salary at $250,000. You had attendance, although it was trending in the right direction, certainly wasn't where you wanted it to be. And as Shannon pointed out, just the other day, you got a team in the Indiana Fever with their struggling selves, struggling to win a damn game and be relevant. No team in the WNBA was worse other than the winless Washington Mystics, okay? And they went from 4,000 in attendance to 17,000. This girl is box office. I said a rising tide lifts all boats. What you do, especially if you're Team USA and you're trying to be globalized, it is an opportunity to globalize the WNBA brand. So people like Brittany Griner, you know, God bless her soul, and others don't have to go to Russia in the...
If we're going to be brutally honest about why Caitlin Clark isn't heading to Paris, we have to confront one uncomfortable truth: jealousy. It's the elephant in the room that the WNBA establishment desperately avoids acknowledging publicly, but it's also the only explanation that truly makes sense. The warning signs came long before Clark even stepped onto a professional court. Diana Taurasi, undeniably one of the greatest players in WNBA history, dropped that now famous line about reality coming for Clark. The way she said it didn't feel like friendly veteran guidance. It sounded more like a subtle threat. Then came Cheryl Swoops, another absolute legend of the sport, questioning Clark's college records and implying that her dominance was only due to taking too many shots. The critiques weren't objective. They felt personal, targeted, and dismissive of Clark's accomplishments. So ask yourself, why were these icons so worked up about a 22-year-old who hadn't yet played a single pro game? Why attempt to undermine her achievements before she even had a chance to to prove herself at the next level. Stephen A. Smith has repeatedly hinted at the truth. The old guard resents the extraordinary attention Clark commands. These are veterans who built incredible careers in near-empty arenas, flew commercial flights, fought for modest salaries, and received little mainstream recognition. And now comes a young woman from Iowa with private jets on standby, Nike deals worth tens of millions, and fans stretching for city blocks just to catch a glimpse of her, before she's even played a professional game.
Decisions, marketing. I want people watching. I want eyeballs. I want advertising dollars. Why? Because he'll get paid. Y'all will get paid. And guess who else will get paid? You see where I'm coming from? That's what it's about. Stop acting otherwise. We know this. You don't sit up there and pass on Caitlin Clark. It was stupid, Team USA, It's
natural for envy to surface in situations like this, but in professional sports, rising stars usually bring excitement and money that benefits everyone, and veterans typically welcome that. A classic example, when Tiger Woods burst onto the golf scene, he didn't just elevate himself, he lifted the entire tour. Prize money skyrocketed, sponsorships poured in, and fellow golfers thrived. The WNBA, however, has reacted almost completely differently. It often seems that certain players want to punish Caitlin Clark for her popularity instead of embracing the advantages it brings. That kind of toxic environment may be one reason she's privately relieved to have missed the Olympic team, and this resentment hasn't stayed behind the scenes. It's spilled onto the court, raising serious concerns about her safety. If you watch closely, you notice Clark gets hit in ways other players rarely experience. We're not talking about clean physical defense within the rules. We're talking about deliberate, borderline dangerous plays. The Kennedy Carter incident is the clearest example. Clark was blindsided with a hip check while the ball wasn't even in play. Carter said something to her and then knocked her down in what looked like an intentional cheap shot. Now, consider the league's response. Did the WNBA immediately suspend Carter to protect one of its biggest assets? No. Did veteran players rush to Clark's defense or call out the obvious misconduct? Not really. Many even dismissed it as a welcome to the league lesson, suggesting Clark just needed to toughen up. Stephen A. Smith highlighted the glaring double standard. If someone like LeBron James or Steph Curry were on the receiving end of a cheap shot, the league would act fast with long suspensions. But Clark? It felt like she was fair game, and this ties directly into the Olympic scenario. Why would Clark want to spend weeks abroad with teammates who either enabled this treatment or watched silently? The roster is packed with the same players who made her professional life difficult for months. Trust is gone. You can't build real team chemistry with people who seem to want you to fail, or worse, get hurt. Any environment like that is toxic at best, dangerous at worst. Then comes the rumored soft quit. After the backlash from the roster announcement, reports suggested USA Basketball might offer Clark a backup role, on standby in case of injury, a weak consolation prize, designed to save face while avoiding giving her a real roster spot. But sources indicate Clark had zero interest in being anyone's backup plan. The buzz in basketball circles is that Caitlin Clark quietly but firmly made her stance clear. If she wasn't deemed worthy of a main roster spot, she had no interest in sitting on the sidelines, waiting for someone else to get injured so she could play. This is what people are calling her soft quit. Clark didn't hold a press conference. She didn't lash out on social media. She simply removed herself from consideration. Stephen A. Smith's recent commentary strongly supports this interpretation. He suggested that Clark has fully recognized the immense leverage she holds in this situation. Right now, she is the driving economic force in the WNBA. She doesn't need Team USA to build her brand. Team USA needed her to boost theirs and lift their TV ratings. By stepping away and taking time to rest, she's sending a clear message. The committee made their decision, and now they have to live with it. It's a brilliant strategic move, showcasing both maturity and business savvy, and it's driving the establishment nuts. They expected her to beg for a backup role, to be grateful for scraps. Instead, she's sitting back, resting, while the team competes in front of audiences far smaller than they could have had with her presence. The numbers tell the story better than anyone can argue. The Clark effect is real and measurable. Games with Caitlin Clark see ratings 300 to 400% higher than those without her. Arenas sell out whenever she plays, and opposing teams often have to move games to larger NBA venues just to accommodate the demand. She's literally a walking economic stimulus for the league. Smith emphasized the financial stakes. The Olympics is a television product. NBC paid massive sums for the broadcast rights and needs strong ratings to justify it. By leaving Clark at home, the selection committee essentially threw millions of potential advertising dollars into the wind. Clark doesn't even have to act. The results will speak for themselves. When Olympic viewership lags behind regular season Indiana Fever games, the proof will be undeniable. This wasn't just a poor sports decision, it was objectively bad business. In professional sports, losing money is often the cardinal sin that gets decision makers fired. Yet somehow the committee chose a path that hurt their own product. The root of this problem goes deeper, a toxic culture. There's growing talk that the WNBA struggles with a mean girl mentality, a tight-knit insular network where initiation is brutal and outsiders are often looked down upon. Clark represents something different, mainstream attention and casual fans. And for some insiders, that's threatening. Social media is filled with purists criticizing new fans for focusing on Clark, saying things like, "We've been here supporting the league for years. You need to support all players, not just her." Technically fair, but delivered with hostility and gatekeeping instead of welcoming new audiences and revenue. Smith confirmed what many suspected. Caitlin Clark is done with Team USA after the committee chose egos over excellence. She refused to be a backup plan for people who never wanted her there to begin with. This is a monumental power move, one that will reshape women's basketball. The committee effectively sidelined their own golden goose, and the coming ratings will prove just how costly that decision was. Do you respect Clark's decision to walk away and stand up for herself? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure you like and subscribe for more breaking sports updates.